Spiritual laws on one page. This is an overview of spiritual laws of world drama of souls. This is the navigation of the four spiritual laws. This is the first law, then this is the second law, this is the third law, and this is the fourth law. These are the generic references, and this is the kind of a conclusion. Now let us see in the details. Let us first understand what is the world drama of souls. The drama implies that there is an actor, there is a stage, there is a script, and there are rules. The rules of the drama will be in terms of the spiritual laws. The actor which we are going to talk about, the soul, means we are going to talk about human soul and nature. Human soul, we'll call it as a Purush, and now onwards, nature, we call it as a Prakriti. And what are those four spiritual laws? First is the definition of the drama, law of definition of drama, which is based on quantum physics. Then there's law of quality of the drama of the two actors, that is based on thermodynamics, or law of entropy. Then there is law of eternity, the drama is eternal. So there's a law of cycle, is based on theory of relativity and metaphysics. And then there's law of cyclic journey, which is based on classical physics. Let us now talk about the first law, the law of definition of the drama. This law is based on Young double-slit experiment. It is, of course, in quantum physics. So based on this observation, it is observed that the conscious mind controls the Prakriti. When we observe from this side or this side, the conclusion is that script controls the Prakriti. But then that is always present in form of conscious mind. So the final conclusion is the Purush, script of the Purush or soul controls the Prakriti. There is another experiment by Libet, which shows that unconscious mind controls the conscious mind. Means that implies the script controls the conscious mind. That means that there is no free will. So everything is controlled by unconscious mind or a script. So this Libet experiment revalidates our conclusion that script of the Purush is controlling the Prakriti. Now we have talked about the script of the conscious. Now let us talk about the script of Prakriti or nature. The script, as per the theory of relativity, time and space are related. So time is also dimension. So we can say that script is made up of the four dimensions, X, Y, Z, and T. The script follows the law of causation. So there is a word line, which is the series of event points. Coordinates are R and T, but they follow predefined path. They do not follow any random paths. So this is all defined by the cone. And so it is concluded that the script controls both Purush as well as Prakriti. Now let us define the procedural components of the Purush or the soul. Soul has a conscious mind, which is depicted in orange color. It has a subconscious, unconscious, and script, which is a permanent in the soul, which is like a hard disk. This is like the RAM, And then, of course, all the souls have the original sanskars. These original sanskars, the original sanskar, or we can say that swadharma, which is common for all script, is the satogun, which are namely Gyan, Pavitrata, Shanti, Prem, Khushi, Anand, and Shakti. And then soul also has an energy, which is nothing but which is defined by this formula NHF. NH is the Planck constant. So the energy is proportional to the frequency, which is nothing but a frequency of thought, which is normally always greater than or equal to 0. And because of that, soul, while playing the script, it always is discharging. We will see the details in the law of quality. Now let us see how the soul, as per the Schrodinger equation, how the soul interacts with the body. We know that means this Purush controls the Prakriti, and we know the Prakriti is a 5 elements made up of the cells, and ultimately they're made up of electrons. So the script of the soul controls the conscious mind, which in turn controls, which observes, so it's based on the energy of the thought, and based on that, cells get automatically aligned, and then they function as per the what Purush wants. In case of the death, or there is no thought energy or no energy of the soul, the cell will behave randomly, or it is almost like a magnet. So in presence of the magnet, uh, ion is aligned, and in absence of the magnet, it is random. So this is how the Purush controls the Prakriti. Let us see the mechanism in detail. So this is the Purush and this is the Prakriti. So by default, Prakriti follows the Schrodinger equation. So Prakriti behaves as the energy, and Schrodinger equation means it has a component psi1, psi2, psi3, psi4. So these are the components. So these are superposition of the different waves. So when through script, when Purush observes, then this psi is transitioned into multi-state. So this is a multi-state superposition. So this is equation collapse, and it takes care of one of the states. Is it like the, when the coin is tossed, then it can be in any of these 6 states, but when it is observed, it is on one of the states. So as per the Schrodinger equation, this energy gets converted into mass, or the phi element, and then because it's from multi-state, it is a single state, and this is what is understood by the conscious mind, and based on that, sankalp is derived, and from that sankalp, again, prakriti or srishti is affected. That we will see in the second law. What we have seen in the law of definition, that Purush controls the Prakriti. That means both the behavior of the Purush and Prakriti is identical. And so that this is the time axis and this is the quality axis. So both can be represented on the same y-axis. So now we are going to talk about law of quality. That is the second law. This is based on law of thermodynamics, a law of entropy. So we know that Prakriti by default is an energy. So that can be defined on general by V mc square equation. Then Prakriti, as per law of thermodynamics 1, it is quantity is always constant, but as per law of thermodynamics 2, the quality spontaneously, the quality always is degrades, so quality goes down, and which is that quality is reflected by the quality is reflected by the efficiency, which is the function of external temperature and entropy. The details we will see. So in the Prakriti, we'll take two cases. We are trying to equate with heat engine, which represents the Prakriti. So ideal heat engine would be, ideal scenario will be that there is no friction, or we can say there will be some kind of revolution. We can say it's a reversible phenomena, and real thing is it will be with friction, and we can say it is irreversible phenomena. In case of the reversible phenomena, this Clausius dq by t 0 is applicable, and that means that it is the definition of entropy. So this is everything is deterministic. What it really means is that this is the heat engine, and then the input dq by t and the output dq by t, the rate of entropy is the same, and that's why the net is 0. Because of that, the equation is here ds dqt, and here also ds dqt. This is high qh, and this is q low. So so in ideal things, it always depends only on the external parameters, namely the source temperature and the sink temperature. And because of this balance, this is 0. So the change in entropy is 0. So this is the equation of the cycle. This is the equation of the procedure. And because it only depends on the external things, so efficiency loss is always less than 1 because of this exhaust phenomena. And when we consider the friction, so because of the friction, it is internal phenomena. So there is a leakage, and that leakage is shown here. So that there is overall there is a more leakage. So there is a leakage from exhaust and leakage of the entropy. So dqt is less than 0. So this becomes non-deterministic, and the equation becomes dq by t plus dsg. This is because of the internal leakage of the engine, and then this is the main equation is the heat is equal to temperature multiplied by entropy, and so this is the energy which is destroyed. So that is dsg into tl, and here the change of entropy is here. This is only a ds, and there is because of the leakage it is ds minus ds. So the change of entropy is dsg. So it is the internal entropy, and because of the leakage the efficiency is reduced more. And why it happens is that when this red line talks about the behavior of the with respect to the time, the ideal consumption where things are only depending on the external environment, and because of that, the TL or sink temperature always increases, the efficiency goes down. In the real or frictional scenario, what happens is because of the leakage, change in entropy is more. So because of the friction, or DSG always keeps on increasing, so change of entropy increases. This becomes non-linear. So the curve efficiency goes down higher and higher, and that is why this is the curve. So here with respect to time, what happens is it will go from state 1 to 2, and from state 1 to 2, the final entropy will always be more than initial entropy. So there will be always be change of entropy which will be greater than. We know that this change of entropy is attributed to increase in the internal entropy because of the friction and only internal nonlinearity. So the quality, which is actually efficiency, which is a function of this, which is external as well as this internal thing. So this quality, which is a function of this. So as the time passes, the prakriti, the quality always deteriorates, and the quality is deteriorated is amplified by the increase in entropy, which is nothing but entropy. So that in course of time, the prakriti quality goes down. So prakriti, or we represent by heat engine. So this is entropy is increasing, which is nothing but internal entropy, the increase in the internal entropy. And then this is a thermal entropy. And then there is a statistical entropy, where entropy is defined as a Boltzmann constant and multiplied by logarithm of microstates. And when there is a Maxwell thought experiment is done, when things goes from 1 to 2, so normally entropy, overall entropy will always increase, but it is also possible through a hypothetical experiment that statistical entropy can get reduced. But it was included that, but then there is a information entropy, which gets increased. So overall entropy is not reduced. And this phenomena is because of there is a processing power of the demon or the soul. So this is memory and processing power, and that defines the information entropy. So which is entropy is the height of the search tree, and which is based on the log 2 of the information. The equation is similar to the statistical entropy. So from thermal entropy, we have gone to the statistical entropy. From statistical entropy, we have come to the information entropy. And from this information entropy, because what we have seen, this information entropy is from demon or soul. So from soul, we go to from demon, we go to the brain, and from brain, we go to the soul or a purush, where we are correlating the height or a search. So this number of layers, so these are the number of layers. So here the number of layer is 1, here number of layer is, we can say number of layer is vikar, which is the number of layers. And the navigation of this thing, which we could call it as a vikal. So that is an energy, and this is like an entropy, and this is like a heat energy. And based on this, we can conclude that from Prakriti entropy, internal entropy, so increases, which corresponds to the Purush of the Vikar. And this entropy and this energy is the exhaust energy, and or we can call it Vikar, which is this is this entropy is a Purush Vikar, and then which is equivalent to the Vikar is a Vikal, because there are more options. So this is, we call it Vikar. So this, with respect to the time, we have correlated Prakriti and the Purush. And this correlation, so normally we know from quantum physics, Purush controls the Prakriti. But here with science, or with this definition of entropy, we have derived from the Prakriti the similar phenomena is a Purush. So it is, kind of using thermodynamics, we try to validate this. And this is kind of a revalidation of what we have seen, that Purush of Vikar controls the Prakriti of entropy. Now, this is what we have seen. Now, we'll compare the heat engine, and we'll compare heat engine with the soul. And in the heat engine, we know that this is the source temperature, which we can compare with the charge of the soul, and normally this charge is always reducing, that we will see. Then this is the sink temperature, which is also an environment. So the source is also environment. The sink temperature is environment, is the number of the souls in the environment. So that also keep increasing. Then this is the input. So this is dQH is the input from the source, and that input is, in this case we can say, is a script. The script is the input to the Purush. And then the output here, the output is exhaust or DQL, and there the output here in the, so this exhaust is mandatory to get any work. So here the Sankalp is mandatory to get any work. So this is work is here karma, is a DW is karma, and then DQL is the Sankalp. And when there is a entropy. So when we have already said, when this is entropy, so there is a sankalp and there is a related vikalp. And because of this vikalp, there will be a karma which is positive or negative, which is, we will call it is a vikarma. Now this, now with respect to the time, when, when we say that here we have seen the behavior of the heat engine from ideal to friction, so frictionless to the friction. So the frictionless is simulated using some kind of a lubrication layer. So gradually this lubrication layer is peels off, and then the friction will start, and friction will start generating heat. So this is, so this ideal is a nirvikari world or ideal world, and then real world is a vikari world. So let us see the cycle from the, this is the nirvikari world. So nirvikari world is our golden and silver age. So nirvikari world, because there are no vikars, so this script S is, this is only lubrication. So this is based on the prarabdha. So this script S is getting executed. And because of the lubrication, there is no interaction between these two, because there is no interaction from the karma to the script, because there is also, this is karma is equal to 0, there is a bandhan mukt, and because of that kind of a thing, there is always only a sankalp, and it is executed as per the script. So there is a one-to-one correspondence between script and sankalp. So that is deterministic. And then, so because it only depends on the external environment, so there is always the sadasuk. So this is the golden period and silver period. So there is slightly, this script test is executed. So this layer is slightly peeled off, and we can see that the Q charge is reduced, and this temperature is, number of soul increases. So this kind of, this is the transition from gold to silver age. And when we come to the Vikari world, so this iron and copper and iron age, what we'll see here, the difference will be, there is a, because of the, this is the body conscious script, and because of the body conscious script, there is a vikar, and because of this vikar, there will be, and that is input. So that script B, or that script B is affected by this karma work principle, and then it is a non-deterministic thing. Because of this script C, D, and because of the vikar, there will be a vikalp. So vikalp is because there is a, so this is non-deterministic. So this vikalp is one to many. And because it's non-deterministic, there will be Sukh and Dukh. So this, we can see that this is the Vikalp. Here it's a one layer. And then Vikar layer is one. There are two layers. So there is more Vikar. So there is a more Vikalp. So this arrow shows that Vikalp. So there is a more Vikalp. And then in turn, there will be a more Vikar. And then this Vikalp, that energy, we can see that the exergy destroyed is the DSG multiplied by TL. So this is what is exergy destroyed. So this is the Vikalp, this is the Vikar, and this is how there is a transition from copper age to iron age. And we will see how the soul get discharged. So this we have shown here. This layer is there, this layer goes off, there is a black layer is there, and there is further more and more black layers. So let us understand that this diagram. So this is the script. The script as a soul conscious script is a dotted line, okay? And then there is a script B is this blue script. So for gold and silver at the Nirvikari world, this script is executed. So this dotted line, this is the full, this Q is at the maximum. Here this is getting executed. So this Q is reduced. And then in Vikari world, this script, the blue script B is executed, and so there is a black layer. Then further executed is more friction. This is further black layer. So we can see that this Q is gradually getting discharged. And then if we can see, if we go this way, then uh, it will almost be, it will become zero, or it will not be able to work any further. So we have seen that the Q is getting discharged. So let us see the mechanism. And this is based on the quantum physics plus theory of relativity and plus thermodynamics. We already seen that there is a script from the soul which will affect the, this is phi element, which is as per the Schrodinger equation, which is in the multiple states, and which is in the energy state. And then because of this observation, there is a transition. So it will get converted into M, or a single state. And so it is, one of the state is sigma M. This is the superposition of states. So this is collapses, the sigma M. Then it interacts with the conscious mind, because conscious mind only understands only one state. Because of that, it will generate the sankalp. And based on the sankalp, we have already said that it will generate the dql. It will generate dq by t, and then it will generate the dql. That we have already seen, and that is how it will affect the prakriti. But because in Vikari world, because of this Vikar, so because of this black layer of the Vikar, because then it not only as far as the script, it will generate Sankalp, it will also generate a lot of Vikalp. And then the soul will generate Vikalp, and from the Vikalp, we have seen that dsg.tl, so it will affect the Prakriti. dsg.tl is generated, and we have seen this equation that ds is dqt plus dsg. This is a change in entropy equation. So based on that, the phi element that also is keeps on degrading, that the way I see. So this is how the Purush is controlling the Prakriti. So we have already seen that how the quality of the soul is also is downgraded in as per the as per the uh, time. So this is downgraded. Now what happens? So that we have seen that this is the Nirvikari world, Vikari world, and we will see there's quality. that Q is getting downgraded, and that would see, there is equation of efficiency. So if it is downgraded, then what happens that this TH and TL, because of this energy, this will become the same, which will become, so the efficiency will become zero, and there is no capacity to work. So this is what we call is a thermal death. So if this happens, that it will lead to a thermal death. But if it leads to thermal death, and what happens that if you want to prevent the thermal death, what is required is that we want to keep the quality constant, or because as per this, if quality is a constant, so that is only possible if the entropy is constant, or entropy will go back. So the entropy has to reduce, or then time has to reduce. But we know that in physics, the time cannot reduce, or time cannot go negative, or time can never go to zero. So there is no question of the cycle. So as far as law of entropy of physics is concerned, this will go on and on till it is a thermal death. But then there is a theory of relativity, a special theory of relativity, where there is a concept of the block universe. So that can be, this is the present, future, and past. So that can be, that block universe can be a linear. So if it is linear, then it is the straight line. So then things are happening. Or it could be in form of DVD. So, or it is that it is as if that nothing new. So the special theory would say that the script, Prakriti script, could be either a linear, or it could be a circular or a circle. And but then there is a special theory of relativity. We'll have that there is, we have already seen the word line, but the general theory of relativity says there is the word line, there is a mass, because there is a gravity, and because of the gravity, there is not a force of attraction, but there is always a, there will be always a curvature. So that word line, which is a black, which will become red, so it will get curved, so that there is a possibility that that word line uh, is also become the circle. So theory of relativity says that this could be this Prakriti script could be a cyclic. But then thermodynamics says that that is not possible. But we know that there is a law of eternity, and so there is based on theory of relativity, plus based on the history, plus based on the statistics, and every all and this drama has to go on. So based on that, we can say that if drama is, if it has to be eternal, then we have seen that say it, what we have seen is that Purush Vikar controls the Prakriti entropy. So if Purush Vikar increases, Prakriti entropy increases. But if it is to be cycle, then this entropy has to go down as well as Vikar has to go down. But we know that for the science, this cannot go down, because this cannot go down, but then this controls, so that Vikar has to go down. So Vikar has to go down. So this is a metaphysics entity. So there is an then there is some metaphysical entropy has to come. So there is a अवतरण of the metaphysics entity, and that metaphysics entity should be able to purify the Purush. So it has Vikar has to become zero, because then if only if Vikar becomes zero, then entropy will become zero, and entropy will become zero, then the T will become zero, and then only it can be a cyclic thing. So that what could be the characteristic of that particular entity. So that is the entity which will need kind of a cleaning, or which is kind of a charging. So that entity is also a soul, but where charge is infinity, where the frequency is always charging less than zero. The soul we have seen You've seen that soul, the frequency was greater than zero, its frequency was less than zero. And this is the most important or the third actor of this drama. We call it the Param Purush, or it is the father of the all the souls. So this is the only charger. Why? Because it is beyond the boundary of the entropy. So this is a human world. So this is a soul world. It is beyond the boundary of the entropy, and it never takes birth. So it will not get affected by the entropy. So that is the characteristic of the Supreme Father. Let us understand the Supreme Father. Let us understand the concept of Avtaran. So there is a shlok in Gita, Yada Yada hi dharma se glani nirvati bhavate. At that particular point of time, from the soul world, which is a pure, where second law of thermodynamics is not employed. This is there is avtaran, and this incarnation is the concept of incarnation is two souls in one body. So in one host, there will be another soul will be there because it cannot go to the embryo and take the birth. So this is the concept of incarnation. So based on that concept, it will it will do the purification of the souls. So the vikar will become zero, and this is based on giving Raj Yoga. So it is teaching the Gyan as well as the Yoga. So 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 we have seen this Avtaran. And based on the Avtaran, what it says is we have seen this is the cycle, this is the time axis, this is the quality axis. We have seen this is nirvikari world, this is vikari world, and if the cycle has to complete, it has to go back here. And we will see that there are two ways it will go back. One is the red line, and what we define that as karma yoga, and this is the karma bhog. So let us understand this concept of this charging. So there are two ways of the charging. So for the cycle, you have to come out tamo to sato, and that happens because of this purusha vikar will make zero. So one is by the karma bhog. So what is a karma bhog is it is the based on vikarma. We know that this action is equal to opposite. Action is equal and opposite reaction here, but this reaction can be there is a delay. Uh, so here the system is simple that whatever vikarma you have done, and if you based on the pain and suffering, that is the reaction of that vikarma. Uh, so with this book, this is those vikarma will get nullified. So that is the one way of sorting out, and the most of the souls have to go through this, uh, so that because ultimately that vikar, that layer, black layer has to become zero. Otherwise, you cannot complete the cycle. And when we do this karma bhog, so there is a vikarma. So there is always law of diminishing utilities. There is a temporary sukh, and then there is a temporary sukh, as well as there is a temporary dukh. So this is the indriya sukh. So that is the characteristic of the indriya sukh. So this is the normal system. But then there is through Raj Yoga, we can also do it through yoga. So here, when we do the Raj Yoga, so that is we will see this was the communication. The Raj Yoga is you have to tune your frequency. You have to communicate it using the electronic, using the telepathy. You have to communicate with the Supreme Soul or Param Purush. The Purush has to communicate the or it's based on this is a telepathy. So one can communicate with the Supreme Soul. And then once you communicate with the Supreme Soul, so your frequency and thus Param Purushan, you become Ashari, your frequency same. So there is a, there is a resonance and you will feel the Atindriya Sukh. And the key thing is that when you communicate and when you get the understanding that there is a, when you get connected, so there is, as based on this focus of your mind and intellect, man and buddhi, so vikar can be, with the concentration, this vikar can be burned off. And so we can destroy the vikar, and that is the only way. Not the key is that not only the vikar of this birth, but vikar of the only also the previous birth. And because of that vikar, we can say that you can get charged, and your our sanskar also get changed. And because of that, we have this equation: stress is equal to pressure divided by resilience. So this Q is equal to resilience. The Q increases so that whatever is the pressure or the situation or paristhiti, we will feel that our stress is much less because of this. So this is the advantage of, removing the vikar. And and we will see that the concept is that the conscious mind, so with gyan, will go into the conscious mind, and based on this conscious mind, we will try to remove the accumulated vikar in the subconscious or unconscious mind. So Raj Yoga is what? It is a purifying the subconscious and unconscious mind, and of the even of the past. This is what is a yoga. So with logically with gyan, this is the concept of the Raj Yoga. And once you are always in tune with Paramatma, then there is it is almost like a quantum entanglement. So you are always in communication with Paramatma. The frequency is zero, so there is a charging one. And then when charging, but these are all eternal things. So then that is kind of the Sukarma that we will see now. So here, so here we have seen in the cycle. So we have seen the cycle in the gold, silver, copper, and iron age. So these are the representation of the four things. But then we will see in the diamond age when there is Avtaran of the Paramatma. So the Avtaran of the Paramatma, what happens? That from here, either it will do by the yog or by the bhog. So in the bhog, through the bhog, automatically the black layer is peeled off by the bhog. Here, by yog, this black layer is peeled off, and then there is another layer, or we can say the pralabdha is created. So this is when you become a God conscious, there is a purusha. Then based on the straight sankalpa, we will here there is a karma zero, here it is a akarma, here it was vikarma, and then we have straight sankalpa, we are going to do the sukarma, and this sukarma will generate the script S, or this is a pralabdha, and then once this script S is generated, okay, so this script S is generated, so instead of this vikalp, here there was a vikalp, so instead of the vikalp, that becomes zero, and then it will be replaced by the Shresht Sankalp, which is something like the charging thing. So this concept is explained here. We have initially explained. We have initially explained that this would have gone like this, but because of the intervention of Param Purush, there is cycle. There is a cycle. So the vikar has to become zero by yoga and spark. So this is by yoga. If it is vikar is become, the script is generated. And if bhog it is generated, the script is not generated. So there are we say the soul with the two cycles. One we say that this is the with script S and another is with the script base. So this is the two ways we can see that the soul, which was the Q. So the soul is discharged here, again soul is charged. And this is how the cycle goes on and on. So this is what we have explained, how the soul is charged. So this is how the soul is charged. And we go to the Schrodinger's equation, some interpretation. We have already seen that how with script, how the Purush is controlling the Prakriti. Uh, but here, so this is the interpretation is given by Param Purush. But then there are other interpretations like a Vedic interpretation. The Vedic interpretation was that Jagat Mithya. That means that energy is Mithya and Brahma Sat is what we observe. So what we say that sigma 1, 2, 3, that is all Mithya. Only what we observe, the sigma m, is the truth. So that is the one interpretation. Then the second interpretation is Ashtavakra Gita, where they say that everything is Mithya. That means what it means is that Supreme Soul, Supreme Soul, or where that is either it's a Q or the sixth element, the Brahm element, where the Supreme Soul stays. So that is the only truth. And what it says that everything else is Mithya. So this black layer, that is all is Mithya. So these are the two interpretation. But what we have seen is that if there is no black layer, there cannot be any cycle. So what we say that only script is the truth, and the E also exists, M also exists, uh, and this is how the cycle is there. So these two interpretations are not perfect, and that will not be able to explain the the cycle what we have explained. Now, now let us see the overview of the cycle. So what we have seen that here we have seen this, there is akarma, then there is a vikarma, and then there is a sukarma. So based on sukarma, we will see that based on sukarma, again you can go into the red line. So this akarma corresponds to the sankalpa, vikarma corresponds to the vikarma, and sukarma corresponds to the straight sankalpa. Now let us, based on this, let us understand what is the definition of the spirituality. So let's say the spirit is our soul or a purush. What is the energy of the spirit? So this energy is frequency. That is nothing but a thought or emotions or whatever it is. So let us try to define the spirituality based on the spirit, of the energy of the spirit. So that is the spirituality. And that is depends on that time. So that is what is a script. So this is the time. So this is the because this is the time. So only when there is a Param Purush Avtaran, then only we get this cycle. And so that our charging ends. So this is the Q. So this is, let's say, this is the Q, the Purush of the Q. So the Q is discharged in Nirvikari world, but there is a deterministic way. This is discharged in Vikari world. And then, again, it is getting charged. So this we have seen the charge and discharge cycle. And we have seen that there is a nirvikari world. So in nirvikari world, it is in a soul conscious world. So there is always a sankalp. And why it is only Sankal? Because it is script S is getting executed. So it is automatically, it is one to one. So here it everything is deterministic. So there is a Sadasuk. So it is everything, all souls in this way will always be in this form. So there will always be Sadasuk. In Vikari world, what will happen? There will be Vikalp. Why? Because it's everything is body conscious, as a karmic account comes into the picture. There is a pain, and because of this automatically it will lead to suffering because it is a vikalp. There is a script 1 to m, so there is a sukh and dukh, so non-deterministic. So this is also automatical. So this and this is what is automatic. Only things there is an option only when there is an avtaran. So that avtaran happens in the sangam yuga, or we can say that diamond world, and that is available for only first and last birth of the every human soul, and that happens only one time in the cycle. So what is required is for this soul, for some critical souls, once they recognize this Paramatma, and if you do a Raj Yoga, so then they can generate the Shresh Sankalpa. Then you have to become a God conscious, or there is the divine help is required. And with Raj Yoga, what you do is that because of this Raj Yoga, what you do is in spite of the pain, which is a karmic account, you, with Raj Yoga, your suffering is become zero because you are all accumulated vikar, which is the automatic mode when we suffer. So that becomes zero. So that is Purusharth we have to do. And if you do the Purusharth, the script S is generated, and this is happens for the only critical uh, critical mass of the souls. We'll see what it is that. And the Shrey Sankalp means that there are only four eternal things, which are the soul, Purush, Param Purush, relation between Purush and Parapurush and dramas. If you think about those things, so your frequency will always be zero. So here this frequency will be zero. So what happens that here, this is one to one. This is script test. Then here it is one to many, and here one to many. So this is here. So here there is the environment is one to many, but again you have to convert into this is sankalp, this is vikalp. So there is a vikalp, but then you have to convert into vikalp to shresh sankalp, and that is you have to frequency zero. You have to get charged. So once that kind of thing happens, then you are only able to generate the script test. And once you generate the script test, then the next cycle, you will be able to enjoy this nirvikari world, or we can say you can enjoy the cycle. So this is the one option. This one option is that the red one option is that this is yoga karma. This is what is spirituality. It is applicable for the critical mass of the souls, and so that we can qualify to new world for the next cycle. And other is when you suffer bhog. So this is a karma, this is a black layer. If you are in the black layer, you will again go to the black layer. So let us understand how you go to this thing, the critical mass of the soul, so that we have to understand the concept of the cyclic journey. So that is only this is only a classical physics. So let us understand this classical physics phenomena. So here this is a soul world, and we say in soul world, the soul comes here in one by one. And since because in soul world it comes to the human world, so this is the count of in the human world, or population is always increasing. So gradually population increasing. If you see the theory of statistics, we know that if you go back in the years, the population is always reducing. So when you are starting, so these populations, it will start with 9 lakh, then 2 crores, and then 33. In the red area, this is a critical mass. So this is the critical mass which we are talking about. So this critical mass of the souls are only entitled for this nirvikari world. And then This is the normal cycle. So only those critical ones we have a script test. The soul which has a script test, so it will start come here in the world. It will enjoy the nirvikari world. Then there is a vikari world, and then because it's nirvikari world, it may follow partly red path and partly black path, and then again come back. And the other kind of the soul, which has only script B, that will they will from they will from this tree, that will come from here. They will come at this particular point of time. They will finish the only Vikari world, then they will go to the book and then again go back to Sumi. So this every soul has a distinct journey, because entry of the soul is that the charge is equal to the normal color of the world. So this is how there is entry, but the all exit is the same. So this is how the cycle is completed. And now we have seen this is a two world, but if you see the other view, we can see there are two worlds. There is a human world, that is a universe here, and there is angel world, and there is a soul world. So this angel world is the world which helps in, help the Param Purush in purifying all the souls, and the purifying even the five elements and all that. So this is another way of this third world. So we have seen this action. So this is the three worlds. So with drama, we actors, we know that this is third, because of third actor Param Purush, there is a cycle. In the stage, we can say there is a human world, there is a soul world, and there is an angel world. In script, we have seen that there is a specific time, there is a cycle. So we know the script, the soul has a script, even Purush has a script, Param Purush has a script, and even Paramatma, Param Purush also has a script. And we have seen all these four rules, what we have seen, all the film. This is how the cycle is completed. And now let us understand what is Raj Yoga. So Raj Yoga is nothing but food and exercise for the energy body. So we have two body. Outer body is normal body, and the internal body is the energy body. And in outer body, we know that food and exercise, it is for physical hands. For energy body, the food is a gyan and exercise is the yoga. So that is emotional health. And so when we do the Raj Yoga, we'll go give the food and exercise for the energy body, and then that will help in realizing that we have the energy body. And so that once we know that there is energy body, that will only is possible that if the black layer of the soul gets removed. So once it is, because of the black layer, we feel it is only one body, the black layer. So this is a body, a external body, this is a human body, and then we only interact with senses. So we are only happy externally. So then, and that is a temporary happiness. But once we have the energy body, so when we realize that we have two bodies, then we realize the energy body. And because when we realize the energy body, then we realize the soul, because the energy body is generated from the soul. And then we'll know that internal characteristic of the soul, which are the seven qualities of the soul, Sattva-pradhan soul. So that is what helps in being happy. So we can become happy. We know the happiness is inside, and so that will be the eternal happiness. So ultimately, what we have seen, that soul is energies. Ultimately, we have to, from vikalp, we have to come back to the Shresh Sankalp. So when vikalp, we know there is a vikar. And why vikar? This is body of the fire element. And there is vikar. So that the vikar is, if with the help of Raj Yoga, when you interact with Param Purush, the vikar goes on. So then we realize there is energy body. So then we realize soul. Then there is we once your soul or frequency merges, then we get connected with soul. Then vikar comes on. So that in that case we are Shreyas Sankal, we are always on this kind of a quantum entanglement. And let us the review the summary. So there are the four laws. The first is the defining. The first law is what? The first law is that Purush controls the Prakriti. Script of the Purush is controls the Prakriti. This is how the definition of the, and because of that, this axis has both Purush and Prakriti. Then we know that by default, that Purush gets discharged. This is Q is discharged. This is how the Purush is getting discharged. So this will go on. But if its drama is eternal, the Purush has to get the charge, but it cannot happen automatically. So there is a Param Purush which will be which will purify the Purush, and once the critical mass of the Purush gets purified, and because of critical mass of the Purush purified by this way, so then the cycle is completed, and then we know that this is the journey of the soul. So we have seen the journey of the soul of script S and the script B. And this is the, so this is the spiritual laws in on the one page with all the four laws. This is law 1, law 2, law 3, law 4. This is all the four laws. And